Mananasizus para Hamzatotus, welcome to your 38th Guam Legislature. Thank you for being here this morning. Today's public hearing is conducted by the Committee on Finance and Government Operations and is called to order now at 0902 on September 15, 2025. First notice of this public hearing was disseminated to all senators and media outlets on September 8, 2025, with its second notice disseminated on September 12, 2025. These hearing notices were also made available on the Guam Legislature's website, our legislative calendar, and the Government of Guam's public notice portal. This morning, the committee will hear testimony on the following. Bill number 161-38 COR, introduced by V. Anthony Atta, an act to amend 8121E of Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, relative to designating retirees who are reemployed in the Government of Guam as ineligible for the Active Employee Health Plan. Also, Bill number 148-38 COR, introduced by Frank F. Blas Jr., an act to add a new Article 5 to Division 3, Chapter 37, Title 5, Guam Code Annotated, relative to the protection of public employees, and to be titled as the Public Employee Grievance Protection and Department Agency Head Recusal under the False Claims and Whistleblower Act. And then we will proceed to Bill number 144-38, introduced by Sabrina, Salas, Matanane. It's an act to amend 771403 and 771405 of Chapter 77, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to extending the authorized tax credits for the rehabilitation and improvements of the football fields operated by the Guam National Youth Football Federation. At this time, I would like to thank my colleagues who have joined me today. Thank you for being here. Vice Speaker and Vice Chair of this committee, Vice Speaker Atta, Senator Calvo, and Senator Matanane. Sidus Masi once again for being here. Before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone in attendance of INELIGIBLE's general rules of conduct. Individuals testifying shall first be recognized by the chairperson before speaking and shall state their full name for record-keeping purposes. Questions and testimony shall be confined to the substance or the nature of the bill on the agenda. Personal inferences as to the character or motive of any senator or individual testifying is not permitted. The chairperson of the committee may order the removal from the hearing of any member of INELIGIBLE or the public audience who fails to observe proper decorum. This is pursuant to the 38th Guam Legislature's standing rules. Any violation of this general rule of conduct will result in immediate removal from the public hearing room. With that, we now proceed to testimony on Bill 168-38 COR, and I welcome the author, Senator Vice Speaker Tony Atta, to introduce his legislation.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Bill 168-38 COR is an act to amend subsection 8121E of Chapter 8, Title 4, Guam Code Annotated, relative to designating retirees who are reemployed in the Government of Guam as ineligible for the Active Employee Health Plan. And what this bill does, Mr. Chair, is that it makes GovGuam retirees that are reemployed in active Government of Guam service ineligible for the Active Employee Health Plan. The enactment of this bill will make GovGuam employees that are, about 12 years ago, the law was changed to make retirees ineligible for the Retiree Health Plan. The premise of that law at the time was that government contributions for the retiree health plan were more than the active employee plan. A few years later, we came to the realization that we can't save money by forcing retirees to sign up for the active employee plan. That retiree will use the same amount of health insurance benefits regardless of the plan. What matters is that the elder people generally use more health care, such as maintenance medication for hypertension, high cholesterol, and diabetes. And by forcing retirees into the active plan, we simply increase the utilization rate of the active plan. I must emphasize that the purpose of this bill is not to force retirees into the RSP plan. Retirees will always have the option to enroll in either plan. And also that by forcing retirees to join the active plan, if they get reemployed, we are preventing them from joining the RSP plan. This is because Medicare rules require that employer plans become primary and Medicare is secondary. And I hope that we'll be able to get testimony from those who are here to testify on it. That way we can see how we can make this bill a much stronger bill that will be beneficial for both the retirees and the government, and most especially the taxpayers of Guam. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Jesus Masi, Mr. Speaker. I know that we have Ms. Paula Blas from the retirement, but I understand you're observing this morning, or do you have testimony?
Comment?
Could you please come forward and, yeah, what questions or comments? We really appreciate that, Paula. Jesus Masi for coming this morning. And please identify yourself for the record and proceed. Thank you.
Good morning, Senator Duenas, Senator Vice Speaker Ada, Senator Calvo, and Senator Matanane. My name is Paula Blas, and I'm the Director of the Government of Guam Retirement Fund. In reading Bill 161-38, I don't have any issues with the way that it reads because it's basically making retirees ineligible to participate in the active plan, which means now Medicare will continue to be their primary coverage. I do have a question with regards to not forcing them to be in the RSP plan as a retiree because they currently have Medicare Parts A and B, and the way the RSP plan is supposed to work with that plan is Medicare will be primary, covering 80% of the cost of their health care, and the RSP plan would cover the 20% cost. In the Budget Act, which provides for the Medicare reimbursement, it currently mandates them to enroll in the RSP plan. Okay, so that's the only concern I had, because I know this intent was not to force them, but the budget bill does. Okay?
Yeah, thank you for those comments, and I think it's important that we understand that, right, so we're not contradicting one or the other,
Exactly.
and that way that we ensure that the benefits still continue to move forward and be able to provide for them as a retiree, and Medicare, and then the RSP comes in, right?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
Jesus Masi, Paula, is this something that you would present to the board for any reason? I just wanted to know as the committee does a markup on the bill.
Not necessarily. This is a program that we just administer. The way the law reads, we just pretty much provide for the reimbursements based on the eligibility requirements of the statute.
Thank you, because I was envisioning that and I'll work with of course, the author and the committee will work. And so your observation, more than likely what we can do then is amend the bill that takes care of it, either that or it's prospective to the next fiscal year. But we'll see how that proceeds, because what legislation would take precedent. But we really appreciate you coming and pointing that out to us. Okay. You can feel free to stay if anyone might have a question of what you've brought up in terms of my other colleagues. And, okay. And then as we close out on the bill, we'll appreciate your presence once again, okay? So Senator Matanane, do you have any questions on this legislation? No. Senator Calvo, do you have any questions or comments? Okay, so so thank you, Paula. We're going to close on this legislation, and thank you everyone else who came maybe to observe. And the committee will continue to mark up the bill, and we'll deal with the question that you presented, and of course make changes as needed. So just Masi, Paula, and have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
So at this time, the committee is going to consider 161-38 COR, once again introduced by Vice Speaker Ada, to have been given its public hearing. And now we will move to our Speaker, Speaker Frank Blas Jr. Once again, I've already introduced your bill as written, but I'll just say the number again, Mr. Speaker. Bill number 148-38 COR, introduced by Speaker Frank F. Blas Jr. Speaker, you're clear to open on your bill.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, colleagues, and good morning to everybody that's here. Bill 148-38 LS is basically a bill that would protect government employees who file grievance, who want to be able to file grievance against, in this case, the head of the agency. And there are many cases, instances where in our basically rules and regulations for the government of Guam. There are processes and ways to be able to file grievance and to protect the employee as they are filing the grievance or filing the complaint against another employee or anyone up into some levels of management, except when it comes to an employee who has got to file a complaint or a grievance against the head of the agency themselves. And so what this legislation basically provide is that protection that we should afford these employees, most especially if the grievance or the complaint has got merit. So that there is no fear of the repercussions or retaliation against this employee. What this will be able to provide is that protection. What I would have appreciated and will continue to work to do is if the agencies themselves have those protective measures in place, then there would be no need for this legislation until such time that that is accomplished, that is being, then we need to be able to provide the employees the protections that they seek, and I think that we should ensure that they have. So with that, Mr. Chair, I look forward to listening to any of the testimonies or the comments from my colleagues on this bill. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker. And so we have one individual signed up, Ms. Vivian Leon, to testify on this bill. So please come forward on Bill 148-38 COR. And welcome to the legislature, Ms. Vivian.
Good morning. Good morning, Senators and Chairperson and Vice Speaker. I'm going to read a letter that I'm representing Glenn Nelson. Based on the letter, he's saying, please accept the attached written testimony in connection of Bill 148-38. Due to circumstances that prevent me from appearing in person, I respectfully request that my statement be read into the official record by Ms. Vivian Leon, a former colleague, mentor, and someone I trust deeply to speak on my behalf. She understands the substance of my concerns and the broader implications they carry. This testimony reflects not just a personal account, but an urgent call for accountability and structural reform. I hope it contributes meaningfully to the committee's deliberations. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter. So I can read his testimony.
Yes, please proceed, Vivian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Half-a-day committee, chairperson, chairman, Duenas, and committee members. My name is Glenn Nelson, the former commercial manager and current operations manager for the Port Authority of Guam. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I come before you as both a public servant and a first-hand witness to a serious flaw in our current grievance system. I offer my unwavering support for Bill 148, a legislation that is essential to restoring fairness, accountability, and integrity to how certain grievances are handled within the government of Guam. My conviction comes from personal experience. Earlier this year, the appointed head of my agency disparaged me during an open confirmation public hearing for the renomination of Conchita Taitano and the new nominee, Mr. Mark Mendiola, to the Port Board of Directors. In response, I filed a formal grievance with the Port's HR division, which was not a decision I made lightly, but one driven by a deep need to correct the wrong that has been done to me and to hold the person responsible for the comments accountable. However, the process was compromised from the very beginning. It was overseen and administered by the same person I was filing the complaint against. To make matters worse, all the individuals involved in the process were subordinate to the agency head, creating layers of conflict of interest and undue influence. Out of sheer desperation, I also turned to the board during the grievance process, the very body entrusted with holding the agency head accountable. Despite my repeated pleas, the board turned a deaf ear to my concerns and a blind eye to the obvious conflicts at play. They refused to intervene, failed to conduct any independent review, and in doing so, effectively abdicated their responsibility to the agency head. The very institution meant to act as a safeguard instead chose silence and inaction. What followed was more disheartening. Because I sought to elevate my concerns to the board, I was issued in part a notice of adverse action, among other retaliatory measures therein. This action was not just punitive, it was the stark example of how those who dare to speak up become targets, deepening the imbalance of power that so often silences true public servants. This failure process and the retaliation revealed a harsh truth. Many employees felt trapped in a system that protects power, not people. Left with no other option, I then filed an appeal with Civil Service Commission. This case remains pending, scheduled for a hearing this November. While I must try to respect the Commission's role, I will not comment on the specifics of that case here, but will rely on my experience as testament to the urgent need for reform. Bill 148-38 is a clear and necessary response. It ensures that no individual named in a grievance can oversee and/or administer the grievance resolution, an obvious fundamental protection that aligns with the principle of due process. This is neither an extreme nor an undue limitation. It is a basic safeguard that any fair system must have. Furthermore, this legislation honors and protects Guam's career public servants, the legacy employees who have dedicated years, often decades, to public service. We are not just workers. We are the backbone of our government, carrying institutional knowledge, professionalism, and commitment through ever-changing political winds. In my case, my record of service to our beloved ROC, region, and the port is proof. This bill is also about more than protecting individuals. It is about preserving legacies. It shields those who have faithfully served from retaliation or procedural abuses simply because of their position or tenure. In a government increasingly populated by at-will political hires, legacy employees are the most vulnerable and are most deserving of such protection. Some may argue that this bill will hamper leadership or open the door to frivolous grievances, but such claims ignore the reality on the ground. In a closed-knit, political-sensitive environment like ours, filing a grievance against an agency head is not a decision one must make lightly. It carries immense personal and professional risk. The truth is, employees are far more likely to endure hardship in silence than to misuse the grievance process, especially when they're up against powerful, agencies backed by vast public resources and shielded by layers of political hires. This imbalance of power places employees like me at a distinct disadvantage, burdened, vulnerable, and often alone. I have lived and continue to live that fear and powerlessness. This bill does not seek to weaken leadership. It demands that leadership be exercised with integrity and not used to control outcomes or silence dissent. The real danger isn't employees speaking up. It's a system that punishes them for doing so. Bill 148-38 is a thoughtful, measured, and essential reform. It restores fairness, prevents conflicts of interest, and rebuilds trust in the very institutions meant to serve our community. It serves as necessary protection against those who have seemingly forgotten that they were appointed to serve, not be served. Public leadership is not about the chase for social status or entitlements. It must be about stewardship. Agency heads and board members are not above the employees they oversee. They are accountable to them, more so when considering the role of leadership is to support, not to suppress. In closing, I want to express my deepest gratitude to Speaker Blas for his courage in bringing forth this legislation. In a climate where politics often overshadow principles and where at-will appointments threaten the stability of our workforce, it takes exceptional integrity to stand with career public servants and champion fairness. This bill is not only a step towards better governance, but also a stand for the people who have dedicated their lives to serving Guam, often without need of recognition, affirmation, or the protections that will come with the passage of Bill 148-38. And in the moments when even the body entrusted with oversight chooses silence, Speaker Blas chose action, unafraid of Facebook trolls, fake profiles, online noise, handlers, and ghostwriters. That kind of integrity is rare, and it gives me hope. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for leading where others remain silent in the face of unchecked power. There is still more work to be done. Thank you for your time, Mr. Chairman and members of the committee.
Ms. Vivian Leon, do you have any comments of your own, or was that what you were?
No, I'll be submitting a written testimony later on for this one. Yes, but
yeah.
I do want to express that I do support this bill wholly.
And can you please go ahead and submit that testimony to our team so that they can append it to the committee report?
Yes, I did.
Thank you for being with us this morning. I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have any questions or comments on the bill. Senator Matanane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Leon, are you still employed with the Port Authority?
No, I was released. I was terminated July 11th by the general manager. I can't go into details as to why my termination, but I did have filed appeal with Civil Service Commission.
I see.
Yeah.
And what was your position at the Port Authority?
I was Corporate Services Manager.
Corporate Services Manager. Did you file a grievance against the general manager?
No, I actually filed 3 post-audit complaints with the against the general manager with Civil Service Commission, which may have resulted in my termination.
I see. Are you aware of, other than Mr. Nelson's grievance, how long were you at the Port Authority?
I was employed with the Port from 1977 to 2012. Then I was one of the Port 7 members, and then I was reinstated back in 2020, and then I got released in July of 2025.
With your long history of employment with the Port Authority of Guam, have you seen any other similar situations, grievances that have been filed against, I guess, a general manager that that this bill aims to address in terms of conflicts of interest?
I know that there are several employees who wish to file grievances but feel that their voices will be suppressed or they'll be retaliated against for doing so.
Mm-hmm. Is there a climate of fear at the Port Authority?
I believe there is.
And why do you say that?
Because of those that have spoken up against the general manager or his team, retaliation has occurred. Employees have been denied promotions because of their voice, or they speaking against management. Yeah, so forth.
Thank you, Ms. Leon. I look forward to reading your testimony.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Calvo.
Good morning, half a day. Buenas. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Deeply sorry for any grievances that you and other people experience, but I know for a fact that in agencies across the board, there are a lot of grievances that most of them are not even being reported, and in fear of retaliatory actions. And so this bill is very fitting and very timing. And I'm glad that the speaker actually introduced this bill. To me, This bill also sends a clear message that retaliation is not to be tolerated. By establishing penalties and remedies, this measure protects workers while holding agency and department heads accountable. Not only that, but the annual reporting requirement in this bill also increases transparency for both employees and the public. So this legislation strengthens our False Claims and Whistleblower Act. So by closing procedural gaps and ensuring it ensures government integrity. So this solves a lot of problems that I can see, and more people that are experiencing grievances can now comfortably come out and state their case. And I truly support this bill, and thank you for your courage to speak up, and I appreciate your testimony, and I hope that more people can come up and state their grievances, because the truth of the matter is work environment is very important for us to deliver progressive actions and for us to deliver a good work, especially towards our government, right? It's important that our environment is good, clean, and supportive. On that note, I thank the speaker for bringing this, for introducing this bill, and thank you so much for the time to speak, Mr. Chair. Appreciate it.
Senator Cabo. Vice Speaker Ada.
I don't have any questions.
Okay. Mr. Speaker, would you like to close on your bill?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Ms. Leal, thank you very much. To my colleagues, thank you for your questions. In preparation of this bill, one of the things that struck me was that there is no, I guess, procedural guideline on how to be able to handle employee grievances against department heads. But in your view and in your purview and what you've seen with the port or with any other entity for that matter, do you know of any provision that exists that protects, in this case specifically, helps to protect the whistleblower in the case of employee against not so much a division head as it is the department head, okay, the entity head? Do you know, does it exist in the port?
None. But because I was the past human HR administrator for the port at one time, grievances that has gone before HR, it was always filed against supervisor. This is the first time that I've seen a grievance filed against a department head, where usually if this grievance, I mean, in my opinion, the department head should have recused himself totally and had the deputy or somebody else handle the matter. But in this case, it didn't. And there's really no process that tells the HR staff how to handle grievances filed against the department head.
Okay. You know, one of the discussions that I had with some people after the introduction of the bill was that there was concern as to whether or not there would be an influx and then a load of complaints against the department heads, and that you know, it's basically follow the lead of the head of the agency or face the wrath. And there was also a comparison of, you know, what a government employee may have to endure, needs to endure, versus a private sector employee. And my answer to that was, first off, in the private sector, it's an at-will employment. Fortunately, you know, the old adage, and it's quite true with the old adage, you know, depending on which side of the bed the boss gets up, okay, is determined as to the direction of the company. But in the case of a department, which is basically has gotten mandate by law and is governed and is funded by tax dollars to be able to be answerable to the people, I think there's a higher standard that is placed not just on the department head, but on the protection of the employee, because it's the taxpayers' money that's paying for that employee, as opposed to company profits. So I was again, this bill would not have been necessary had there been processes and procedures that it currently exists. I thank you for helping to be able to bring this to light. You know, it just shows that government can be so old, but there may be some areas of government that still need tweaking.
Yes.
And in this case, this is one of them. You know, I look forward to the testimony that you're going to be able to present to the committee, and then I want to thank my colleagues and Mr. Chair for the opportunity to be able to sit and listen in the public hearing. I look forward to its acceptance onto the session agenda, and then to move forward. That said, though, as I'd like to say, is that, you know, I mean, it's a call out to the department heads as well as to the government of Guam.
Yes.
This bill may not be necessary had those processes be in place, or those processes are in place.
Correct.
Okay, I'm not one to be able to just, you know me, Vivian. Okay, yes, I'm not one for as far as a whole lot of legislation, especially if it can be accomplished in another way. I just see that it needs to be accomplished.
Yes.
Okay, so
Thank you.
it's my call out to the department heads. Prove me wrong, or in this case, show that you're moving these forward, so this bill may not be necessary. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Speaker, and certainly I concur with you. I mean, it's really up to you know, institutions and divisions heads and the like to put in standard operating procedures that, you know, is fair across the board. So we'll continue to mark this bill up, Mr. Speaker, and take additional testimony, and I'll work with you on the committee report going forward. And thank you once again, Ms. Vivian, and we'll continue to work on this effort going forward. So with that, we're going to consider having heard Bill 148-38 COR, once again introduced by Speaker Frank F. Blas, Jr. I want to also welcome Senator Gumitalto to join us this morning on this public hearing. So now we come to the next bill on the agenda, and that is Bill number 144-38 COR, introduced by Senator Sabrina Salas Matanane. Senator Matanane, please open on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This bill, it is simple. The Guam National Youth Football Federation runs the fields where hundreds of our children and teens practice and compete. These fields are falling apart, and our kids deserve better. Years ago, we created a tax credit program so businesses could help fix the fields without draining government funds. But because of COVID and then Typhoon Mawar, the Youth Football League never got the chance to use it. And now the program is about to expire. If we don't extend it, the opportunity is gone. This bill gives them more time and updates the funding cap because construction costs today are double what they were when this law was first written. That's why we raised the cap from $500,000 to $1 million in the first year, so the improvements can actually happen. The original sponsors of the law from the 36th Guam legislature were Senator, now Congressman James Moylan, and Senators Chris Duenas, Frank Blas Jr., and Tony Atta. This is about investing in our youth, giving them safe fields to play on, and building strong, healthy communities. I ask for your support for the children of Guam and their future.
Dismasi, Senator, and yes, I remember doing this bill and still very much in strong support. So we'll ask those who have signed up to come forward, Mr. Buzz Chiroma, Jesse Barton, I believe. Oh, Bautista, I'm sorry. My misreading, sorry. Mr. Bautista, come on up. Vice. Angeline Rios, right? Mr. Rios and Ms. Leon Guerrero.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, Vice Speaker.
Vice Mayor.
And Mr. Chair, Senator Calvo, Gumitalto, and Sabrina. Thank you very much for taking the time for looking into trying to amend the law to push us forward to try to get this tax credit. We have a hard time, during COVID, Mawar. Mayor and I and the Football Association is really anxious to push forward to make our field better and to expand. We do have other companies that are very interested in proceeding to make our field better. I thank you for listening to us and providing what you could support us in.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Appreciate your presence here today. And which field are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Tizen field?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Just for our listeners, they might be interested, but I'm sure you're supporting the other entities as well, correct? Thank you, Vice.
Yes,
Mr.
correct.
Shiroma, please proceed.
Yeah. Okay. Senator Frank Blas, Senator Duenas, Senator Ada, Senator Calvo, Senator Gumatautau, Senator Matanane. I'm here representing the House Angels Football Organization. And I've been coaching for about, let's say, about 25 years. And our family, we run the House Angels Organization. And we're just following the footsteps of our father. But we do this not because we're being paid. We do it because we are former football players. We know what it's like. We grew up to a system of playing football to a pretty high level. And I'm here as a private citizen and as a coach for the House Angels organization. I'm asking for your support because without that, our family has been depending on corporate sponsorship and donations from companies. And I'm humbled by these companies, but at the same time, these tax credits are absolutely, that's our lifeblood. That's our lifeline. And while you're here working, we're out in the field working with kids for one reason, because we love the kids. And we've done it for so long, and I want to continue with that, but our dependence is on you. So I'm here asking for your support for the tax credit, for the extension of it, and so I can continue to coach and to love the kids, and in return, they reciprocate that same love for football and the coaches and the parents. So that's my testimony.
Si Mr. Shiroma, and we appreciate you being here today, and we appreciate everything that you and the family have done to ensure that the integrity of that field going forward and helping the children as well. Ms. Antoinette, you're recognized at this time.
Hi, good morning. My name is Antoinette Leon Guerrero, Compliance Division Manager for the Guam Economic Development Authority. I'm here today to read testimony from Cristina Garcia, the Acting Chief Executive Officer Administrator of the Guam Economic Development Authority. Hafide, Senator Duenas, and members of the Committee on Finance, Government Operations. My name is Cristina Garcia, Acting CEO Administrator at the Guam Economic Development Authority, and I'm here to present this testimony on Bill 144-38 Core, an act to amend Section 771403 and 771405 of Chapter 77, Title 12, Guam Code Annotated, relative to extending the authorized tax credits for the rehabilitation and improvement of the football field operated by the Guam National Youth Football Federation. I appreciate the opportunity to submit testimony in support of Bill 144-38 Core, which proposes extending the tax credit program under 12 Guam Code Annotated Chapter 77 for the rehabilitation and improvement of the football fields operated by the Guam National Youth Football Federation. The proposed Bill 144-38 offers a strategic balance between community infrastructure development and fiscal responsibility. By authorizing $5 million tax credits over 5 years, $3 million in business privilege tax credits, and $2 million in excise tax credits for rehabilitating GNNYF fields, this legislation aligns with economic development framework while requiring careful budgetary considerations. However, GITA must express concerns regarding the physical impact of this bill on the government of Guam's overall operations. The extension and continued use of these tax credits will reduce government revenues over the next 5 years. This loss of revenues will negatively affect the government's ability to fund other essential services, including education, public safety, and critical social programs. GITA remains committed to its responsibility for monitoring and reporting the use of the tax credit program, ensuring transparency and compliance with fiscal mandates. However, this reduction will require careful consideration during the annual budget process, as it will impact the funding of other government programs. We are also concerned with federal government canceling programs, specifically in the areas of health and education, which will consequently become a real responsibility of the government of Guam. Hence, another reason to preserve the current BPT revenues. In conclusion, thank you for the opportunity to provide this testimony on Bill 144-38 Core.
Si Diyos masi, Antoinette. And so now I'll go to my colleagues for any comments they may have. Vice Speaker Allen. Senator Matanane, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Si Diyos masi. Senator Gumatautau, you recognize?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for the panel for being with us this morning. Just in the research on this, based on information that was provided regarding active tax credit programs as of 2023, it appears that no disbursements were authorized as of February 27, 2023. So I guess my question is, what exactly has the Guam National Youth Football Federation and maybe relevant stakeholders put forward in the form of facility assessments, construction designs, or other planning documents to help guide development or expansion projects involving the Tamuning, Tidsan, House Angels Field, and/or Talafofo Field, and what communication, if any, has the organization as the tax credit beneficiary made with GITA since 2022 to ensure that the program is maximized for the benefit of our youth football community?
Senator, as far as what you're asking, can you clarify, what you're asking on the bill?
So I'm just asking, since this program was enacted, has the National Youth Football Federation completed any assessments, any designs, anything that can help us understand where you're at today in terms of whether it's one field like the field in Deredo, Talafofo? I'm just trying to get a status, that's all.
Okay. Senator Gumatauta, I'm going to let my brother Ivan, who's involved in that part, I'm more of a coach supporting him. So I'm going to let him answer that because he's the one dealing with it.
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm looking at you, but I don't have that information. He does.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Ivan. Hey, and good morning to you, by the way.
Morning, Senator. My name is Ivan Shiroma. I'm representing the Guam National Youth Football Federation. Right now, we have contractors that have plans to proceed with development, but the costs per field is not enough for them to move forward. So that's why we're here, to extend the deadline so nothing lapses, and to increase the funding per. Only 2 fields right now are actively involved in the development. The other 3 fields, because we're allowed 5, right, as per the verbiage on the bill. So only 2, the House Angels and the Tidsan Field, where the contractors are willing to put in or take advantage of the tax credit. So they have plans and they have, they have all these plans ready to go, but the money that's allotted per field is not enough for them to proceed. So that's
Ivan,
the problem right now.
So then you have the designs for House Field and Deredo for sure.
Yes.
And then you guys have started the work at the Tidsan Field as well. Okay. All right. For the record, to what extent, and I'm not sure if anyone on the panel can answer, but to what extent have businesses reached out to the Guam National Youth Football Federation with respect to potential investments under the current and proposed extended tax credit programs?
You know, even though the tax credit bill sounds attractive, nobody's really jumping in to help these, the Guam National Youth Football Federation. It's just not happening. I would think, right, with the tax credit bill, I'll have a lot of offers, but nobody's jumping in. So we're the ones going out looking for the help. So right now we're fortunate to have at least 2 contractors that are willing to support it or take advantage. And I'm going to mention their names. I don't know if they're okay with that. Like Ian Corporation, LMS. So, these 2 companies were assessing their tax liability or whatever. So they're willing to help out right now for the 2 fields. Nobody else has jumped in. Plus, we can't use the certain tobacco companies that were willing, but they're already been, I think we're not allowed to use them, right? Because they're, I think, the syntax companies. So right now, only 2 companies are willing to jump in, and that's why we're here, to extend the deadline so we don't lose the tax credit and to increase the funding per field, because the 1 million per field is not enough right now for them to take advantage. They don't want to spend any of their money. They just want to take advantage of the tax bill that'll cover where they don't have to, use any of their out-of-pocket money. So that's where we're at right now.
Okay, thank you so much, Ivan, and thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to ask the questions. That was very helpful. Thank you so much.
Sidus Mazi. Mr. Speaker, you have any questions or comments?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, and thank you very much for being here today. Mayor Jesse, you had mentioned, and Buzzy, you mentioned earlier that when this law first came into effect, unfortunately, we had COVID and Marwar. What was happening with the renovations or rehabilitation of the fields? Give me a little history as to why you weren't able to use, whether it be the tax credit or any corporate help to be able to fix the fields. Did it severely or affect your ability to be able to do that? COVID and Marwar? Can you go ahead and turn on the live?
I think most of the contractors that we approached were all, they rather just do work inside the fence, military contracts where they're making, their profits. Nobody wanted to touch the tax credit, take advantage of that bill. So that's where we were at for 23, 24, now 2025. So now we have these 2 companies that are willing to step up and take advantage, so that's why we're here.
Okay.
And, the deadline is the end of this year, so that's why we're here. I get to extend the deadline and take advantage.
Okay, Mayor?
Yes, our future was damaged by Marwar. We do have a company that came in and did an assessment and did some drawings and planning for our field. We're going to expand our field for extra football and practice field. We have so much areas there that we want to expand because we have more kids coming out. Mr. Shimama is right that it's hard to get contractors. Nobody wanted to bite on this bill, so it was tough. So now that we came up, now these contractors want to come and help us due to our drive to make it better for our kids.
Okay. And the reason why I asked that question is to basically establish that while you had it initially, I don't want anybody to say that, well, you had it for 5 years, why didn't you do anything with it? There were legitimate and reasons and concerns as to why it wasn't done. and which is why you want the extension now, most especially now that you've got somebody to bite on it, see how we can work on it. So I just wanted to make sure we cover those bases as well, as a justification and as a reason that we need to be able to extend it. Okay? So thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Usmasi, Mr. Speaker, and just in closing, as having been co-sponsor to the primary legislation, and Ms. Anton, I understand, the testimony from Gita supporting and having some concerns going forward, but my position is that this law has already contemplated the impacts, and we have to remain steadfast and committed, if we're going to remain steadfast and committed to these opportunities to help the youth football organization. I want to remind our folks that these individuals, their blood, sweat, and tears are in these fields. Their families have sacrificed. They've gotten volunteers and they've gotten donations from other companies. And, it's incumbent upon us. Yes, we have to monitor cash flows. Yes, we have to monitor things going forward. But I think our government has been, frivolous in some other areas as well, as though this investment is certainly in keeping with our priorities. So we'll continue to mark the bill up as we go forward, but it's no fault of the organizations that the opportunity and the time has come through the introduction of this legislation. I don't see anybody introducing a bill to repeal it. So to me, we have to continue to extend the courtesy, given the fact that these organizations have done their work. It would be different if they were coming to us asking, hey, can you build us a field? But that's not true. These guys have put their time, they use their own equipment, their families who love football come in and paint the field, paint the field, paint the buildings, maintain the concessions. And so I, for one, want to make sure that I stay steadfast with my commitment, and hopefully my colleagues, I'm sure, will join this effort going forward to continue to match the effort that these individuals have put out. So with that, I want to thank you all for coming out this morning, and we wish you, a good fortune going forward, and we'll see how we can get together. And once again, thank you, Ms. Antoinette. See how we can see this thing to its fruition and keep these and get these fields ready for our kids to play and to grow and to become better citizens because of the sportsmanship and everything else that they learn through Guam Youth Football. To my colleagues once again. This will conclude today's public hearing on bill numbers 161, 148, and 144-38 COR. The committee will continue to accept written testimony on the bills within 7 calendar days from today, which may be addressed to myself, Senator Christopher M. Duenas, as chairman of the committee, or mailed to 163 West Chalanson Papa, Naganya 96910. You may also email your testimonies to senator.duenas@guamlegislature.gov. And I think I did not allow Ms. Senator Matanane, would you like to close on your bill just before I do the last sentence?
I'd just like to say thank you, Gita, for coming, and of course the Shiroma family, and the Vice Mayor Batista. Hopefully we get enough support to get this bill passed. Thank you.
Masi, Senator, and once again, the email. You may also email your testimonies to senator.duenas@guamlegislature.gov. Today's public hearing is now adjourned. This is a record for my committee at 09:55. Like I said, a record for my committee. Have a great day, everyone. God bless you. Masi.